Thank you so much for joining the live. I'm just connecting my phone to the charger because I forgot for some reason. But yes, how's everyone doing? Happy Monday. So, we are starting a new series on the channel. We are going to be talking about the psychology of money because that is the book that we're reading first for 75 Hard. So, do you think your spending habits are emotional? Mm. Okay, that is the poll for today. Just waiting for the notification to go out, and then we are going to dive into our topic for the day. Okay. Started a little bit late, but I think we are fine. I'm looking for something to wipe you guys. I don't know if it is from my phone it seems clear, but from this screen it seems shady. Let me look for something to wipe you guys. I think socks will do well. Better. Much better. Oh, that is clear. So today we are going to start the topic of the psychology of money, and it is based on the book that I'm reading for 75 Hard. It is by, okay, if you'll excuse me 1 second, I'll go and get the book. Back. So the book is by Morgan Housel, and this is my second time reading it. And the reason why I'm reading it for the second time is because the first time I read it, although it didn't, although it made an impact on me, I didn't apply it as much as I wanted to. So as I'm reading it now, I want to make sure that I'm actually going to apply the things that I am reading. Okay. Is it good? It's really good. It's really good. Untouchable. Thank you so much for joining. Is there a sequel? It doesn't say so here, but I think they should be. I'll have to check for you. Let me check. Give me 1 second. Let me check for you. The psychology of money sequel. Okay, so it does have a sequel, and the sequel is Same as Ever. So this is the one that I'm reading now, and the other one is Same as Ever. Hi, Miss Malaika. Thank you so much for joining the live. How are you doing? Um, well, it's still morning for both of us, but how are you doing? All right, let us entertain ourselves with this message. Selexio said, are you? No. Hey, you know your IP address is available, right? Someone finna get you swatted. Fix it in your privacy settings. Uh, okay, I don't know. I thought I was gonna entertain myself with that message, but actually, no. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Hi Tineo Mangwanani, how are you doing today? I'm here just in a meeting. Thank you so much, Miss Malaika. I appreciate you being here. So we are going to be talking about the psychology of money, and today's topic is no one is crazy. That is the first chapter in the book, and I thought it was interesting how he put it, and I'm going to tell you why. Do you think money can buy happiness? That is a philosophical, existential question. And I think that when I was younger, I believed that money could buy happiness because you have this idea that if you eat 3 ice creams a day, you're gonna be so happy because when you're younger, it's the superficial things that make you happy. And those superficial things can usually be bought by money. But as you grow older and as you experience life, you realize that there are things more important than money or think that than the things that money can buy. Like, for example, having a family, having to spend time with your family, sharing memories with your family. You can do that without money, right? As long as you've put your ducks in a row, you can do those simple things without money. Um, Having a walk outside and enjoying the sunshine, for example, those are things you can do without money, and those are things that actually bring the real happiness. So I believe that money can facilitate happiness, but it cannot buy happiness. I don't think money can buy happiness. I think it can facilitate you having something, but not happiness. Well, thanks, Dre. That is good to know. Thank you so much, Dineo. Hi, Sis Hoa. Good morning. How are you? Thank you so much. Good morning, Lungi. Good morning, Jojo. Thank you so much for joining the live. So today we are discussing the first chapter of The Psychology of Money, and it is, well, the name of the chapter is No One is Crazy. And I believe that on this channel, when I'm talking about different topics, I always bring about this issue of people come from different places. They have grown up with different patterns. They've grown up with different cultures and traditions, and it influences a lot more things than we know. And that is what this author, Morgan, talks about in the first chapter. Good morning, Linda. Thank you so much for joining the live. Okay, so he gave many examples, but these ones were more in tune with America. But if I put it in my situation, and I think that South Africa at some point got in the same situation as Zimbabwe and the rest of the world at some point. But when I was growing up, we had a roller coaster of an economy. So when I was younger, we had a very steady, we used the Zimbabwean dollar when I was in primary school. Yeah, I think things changed when I started going to high school. So when I was in primary school and before, we used the Zimbabwean dollar, and it was very strong, very stable, hardly any exaggerated inflation. We did have inflation, of course, but it wasn't that exaggerated. So most of my childhood from primary school, everything was free flowing. And for example, we had credit facilities. A lot of people didn't use them. We had health insurance, which could pay for everything, public or private, whatever it is that you needed to get. You could, when you go to a public hospital, of course, it was free, or it was affordable. And then if you had medical aid or health insurance, then you could go to a private hospital and get everything done because they would take something monthly. Primary school, it was very affordable, and the teachers were very much dedicated to the education. We didn't have any strikes. Same thing with healthcare, doctors strikes, nurses strikes. We didn't know anything about that. Toys, of course, because I was in primary school, toys were very affordable. Food was very affordable. Clothes were very affordable because we had a stable economy. And then when I went to high school, we changed our currency, And um, at some point we had $1 trillion note. So I have experienced, I think, the worst inflation that has been recorded. I think maybe the second worst, third worst inflation that has been recorded in the world. I experienced that when I was in high school, whereby if you go to school, because that time I was taking public transport to school sometimes. So if I go to school in the morning, the price would be maybe, let's say, $100. And then by the time I'm coming back from school around 4, the price will be $200. That's how bad the inflation was. So I've lived through that situation whereby sometimes you have the money, but there's absolutely nothing on the shelves to buy because the store owners cannot get a profit because of the inflation that is in the country. And those times we used to visit South Africa a lot, we used to visit Botswana a lot because they, in those places, they actually had goods. And I was in boarding school, so we had to buy a lot of things. And even for home, basic goods like sugar, flour. And I remember during that time we never used to buy bread. Like, there was no bread in the shops, so we bought a bread maker, and then we would go to South Africa or Botswana. We would buy the ingredients, and then we would make our own bread from the bread maker. Yeah, simple things like cooking oil, you wouldn't find that in the shelf. Soap. So imagine having to travel to another country just to buy the basics. That was the life we lived during my high school years. And then we started using the US dollar. And when we used the US dollar, things went back to being stable because it was a stable currency. But remember, that's not our currency. So at some point, it changed. Everything changed, and now we've started using our local currency again. So it's quite a roller coaster. So the life that my grandmother lived is completely different from the life that my mom lived. And it's also completely different from the life that I lived. But these are just 3 generations. So by the time my grandmother retired, her pension was so good. And that means even when she was working, her salary was so good. She could buy a house, you know. I think in the first years of her working, she could buy a house and a car, everything, you know, the basic things that you would think your job would give you, you could get that. By the time I started working, the prospect of buying a house got harder and harder. So, all of this is to say that even within the same family, we have experienced working, we've experienced the economy, we have experienced currency, we have experienced inflation completely different. So, the financial decisions that my grandmother would make are totally different from the ones that my mom made, are totally different from the ones that I made. And to each other, when I'm spending my money in a certain way, they're confused. Why am I spending it that way? Same thing with them, same thing with other people around us. So basically, I say that to say that is the preface of the first chapter, which says no one is crazy. So let me just catch up with the comments. All right, Jojo. Yeah, I still have 12 minutes with you. Lungi, it was hectic. Great morning, Precious. Great morning. Hi, well, that was so bad. Such fluctuating prices in one day after a few hours. It's so sad. Even now in SA, the basics are now luxury items. Joanna, I'm telling you that soap to bath with, like that bath soap, not even the gel soap or the liquid soap. No, that bar soap was a luxury in Zimbabwe at that time, not even because of the price, but because you wouldn't even see it. You can't see it to buy because all the shops were dry. Thank you, Sis Hoa. Those were tough times. Dineo was so tough. And like we had the privilege of actually traveling out. So the price that we would buy in South Africa or in Botswana, okay, fine, give or take the fuel that we would use would be maybe three quarters less or half the price that people would buy from the people who had brought it in Zim, right? So not only is your salary inflated from the day you get your salary to the day it gets to month end, but even the things that you are buying, they are on black market because you can't find them in the shops, so they're double or triple the price that they are supposed to be. So your small salary is not even going to be able to buy the basics like Jojo said, so it does become a luxury as well. Imagine not having yeast and cooking oil. Joanna, we had to go and buy it. Imagine, from another country. Now, it was crazy. That is actually our reality now, Jojo. True. Yeah. And it is, yeah, I think that's why for me, I feel like we listen to a lot of things and we read a lot of books about finance and all of those things, but the situation in America is different from the situation in the UK. Even the one in South Africa right now is different from the one in Zimbabwe. So that's why the preface is no one is crazy, because some of the financial decisions that I would make would be different from a person who's living in Zimbabwe right now, a person who's living in America and South Africa. So it is, yeah, it is quite hectic. And it's worse now to think not everyone can afford a house now. So people who now go through a pension, they use their pension money to buy at least 2-bedroom house. If it's not even enough, cause yes, Jojo, that's what I was saying, that when my grandmother was working, within the first few years, she had bought her house. When I started working, with how my salary was and how much it was to buy land, because in Zimbabwe, most people don't buy like finished houses because they're very expensive. Most people buy a stand and then they build. Saving to buy the stand, then saving to build. The prospect is just, So imagine now you have your pension, which is maybe, I don't know if it's even up to $250 now, but $250, and you're still renting. It doesn't add up at all. It does not. Pleasure, dear. Thank you, Jojo. A pension money is for enjoyment, Joe. So sad. Yes, Lungi, because you've been working your whole life. And if you have a house, right, your pension money is just for, you want to bake today, you want to go on vacation next month. That's how it's supposed to be. But the state of things right now, it's quite different. It's so bad, Jojo. People's quality for houses, and because of the interest rate few months down the line, the repayment becomes difficult to pay. It's tough, guys. And banks capitalize on that. That's one thing I've realized, that the banks really capitalize on that. They are hoping for the inflation so that they can increase their interest rates. The repayment is hard and they just take the house. So a lot of people are falling for that. Hi, Sino. Thank you so much for joining. How are you? Sis Christina, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you being here. A mere salary is not enough. One needs to have multiple streams of income to survive. Yes, Linda. Yes, yes, yes. And yes. All I can say is yes, because that is always what I'm preaching, multiple streams of income. We cannot rely on salary anymore. It's impossible. Exactly, Linda. If you can see now, people are pushing to have side jobs. You're in Joburg, the stand is so expensive. Imagine buying a stand for 2 million. Joanna. Joanna, that's a lot. That is a lot. I saw a house on sale. I think it was yesterday, and it was $200,000. So basically the same thing. That is high. That is steep, Joanna. Renting is another pandemic. Hi, ladies that have joined. Lungi, it is because you are literally. If you calculate, for example, the amount of rent you pay for 5 years, if you calculate it, you can actually build something, even if it's small, or you can buy land or something, even if it's small, if you calculate it. But because you don't have that bulk income at that particular point, and if you go and get a loan, if you qualify for a loan, that is, then maybe it can be better. But still, you are just giving someone money. You're literally giving someone money for such a long time. Hi Mohadi, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining the live. Hence, people who have homes in rural areas but stand and build there. Sino, a lot of people in Zimbabwe have started moving back to the rural areas because a lot of families own their own land in the rural areas. You don't have to buy a stand or anything like that. So a lot of people have started building the houses that they want, like a 3-bedroomed house, 4-bedroomed house, depending on how big your family is. Then they have the space to get a garden, they can keep their animals. A lot of people have started doing that in Zimbabwe because yes, we have urbanized, and also the urban area in Zimbabwe is very small. Percentage wise, maybe 30%. Most of the land is in the rural areas and the outskirts. So a lot of people realize that, first of all, the unemployment rate is so high. Secondly, when you do get the job, it's not enough for you to actually make a living. So people realize that even though you have your degrees, because we have a very high literacy rate in Zimbabwe, especially with your first degree, even when you have the degree, it's hard for you to get the job. Even with the job, it's hard for you to rent and pay school fees for your children. So most people have just decided to move to the rural areas, build the house and the life that they want there, because it's a rat race in the urban areas. True Jojo stands are expensive, really, really, really. When I Joe, I don't know if you were on my live when I showed you stands next to my mom's. Those stands are 600K, but it's actually a gatekeeping method by white people because the stands are small. Where will kids play? Louis, that is a bigger topic. Like why we even have to still buy this land is a huge topic that normally really breaks my heart, especially in these urban areas, because that was our land to begin with. But I think at some point I will dive into that because it is quite ridiculous. It is. Yes, Lungi, quite. Hi, Mohadi. I remember that stand, Lungi, 600K. What, like, it doesn't make sense. It is, Lungi, and it's hard because even loans are hard to get them. Yes, Joanna, because you have to qualify for these loans. And what are the qualifications? There's so much marginalization in our countries that even for you to it's so hard for you to move from one financial status to another because there's always like a glass ceiling. You have to reach this point before you can do this. You have to reach this point before you can do this. That's why you find that there's always that 1% that has billions of money. Then you have 5% of people that are, the people that break out of middle class. But in Zimbabwe now, slowly, but hopefully things are going to change. But slowly, even the middle class is disappearing because the inflation is too high. The things that people could afford having a middle class job or being in the middle class 10, 20 years ago is now a luxury now. So I do understand what you're saying, Jojo, when you say that it's a luxury now. Do you know they don't want black people in that area? Yes, Lumi. But whose land was that to begin with? Uh, whose it's a bigger conversation. That land has been vacant for over 15 years. Proper gatekeeping. Proper. Yes, I was, Lungi. The thing now is they don't even give space for kids to play shame. And where would they play? Where would they play? Honestly. Like when I think of how like my personal rural area is, they are the buildings, right? Because in most rural areas in Zimbabwe, you don't have like one big house. You have like the kitchen is by itself, then you have the bedrooms, you have the toilets, and then there's so much space to play. There's so much place to plant whatever crop you have. There's space to put your animals. And as you're walking around, we have the mountains, we have the rivers. So I think that's how life should be if you choose to live, that kind of homely life. Yes, we're living in the city, but you're supposed to have enough land for children to run around and have fresh air. It's good to save enough, though it's tough, or build in stages. Once you want to take a break, you do so and focus on other things. Then you continue at your own pace. Yes, Christina. So, in Zimbabwe, something that a lot of people do that I love is that they will buy the land. So they save enough to buy the land, the stand, and then they build a cottage. So maybe a 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom cottage with a toilet and everything. Then they have a plan of building maybe a 3 bedroom, 4 bedroomed house for all their children, right? And they do that in stages. So every month they'll buy whatever they need for the foundation and. So you're already living in your house. So the money that you were supposed to be paying for rent is now being invested in your own house, and you're also leaving an inheritance for your children. So I do also believe in that, doing things in stages. You don't have to really wait until you have this huge lump sum. But yes, because they make them so expensive, so fewer black people can afford. And my question, Jojo, is always that they know that fewer black people can afford this. So they know that, in fact, even in our own land, right, we don't have the capacity. But why is that so? Why are resources not being distributed equally? Why is it that in olden times, almost every family could fend for their children, fend for their families in their own land? As it developed, was it not supposed to continue as so? So, Joanna, like I said, it's a deeper conversation. To me, it's an infuriating conversation. That's why I don't want to and dive into that, because, yeah, when I study history and psychology and I look at how other countries are living, it affects me to the core. It does, Lungi. I've seen their tactics. Even here, it's the same. Yeah. And imagine, imagine, land that belonged to you is now being gatekept by other people. But that's something else. But building Mkaya is clever for those who have homes back there in the rurals. It is, Lungi, and a lot of people are actually thriving from that, because you have land to do many projects. If it is like a farming project, you can do that. You don't have to worry about paying rent for land. If you want to do a piggery, or you want to keep chickens for either meat or eggs, it's something that you can do from there as well. Even cows, a lot of people then deliver to butcheries and all of that. So when you have the land and you don't necessarily need a lot of capital to start these things, and the money you are going to pay for rent, you can use that as capital as well. And the stands are so small for those amounts. Yeah, you can hardly build anything and still have space. We are live. The yard can fit. Oh, where we live, the yard can fit 5 houses. Ooh, that is amazing, Linda. That is actually amazing. That is amazing. Yo, Jojo, hence I stopped looking at the north when we bought this house. We wanted at least a place that kids can play. If you get it in the north side, it will be very expensive. Mohadi, I can only imagine, but I'm very happy that you ended up finding a good fit for you. Yeah, but Sis Christina, we can build, but as evolving generations, we don't live in our rural areas because jobs has to um like we move to the urban side. Saving for that will take ages. One will be a magoko. Hence why I was saying, Jojo, what our grandparents could do is so much harder than what we can do. So people have started in Zimbabwe. I think people have kind of given up on the hope of being in corporate. Some people, like a big percentage of people actually. Most people are starting their own businesses, and some people are moving back home and using that as a business as well. Nice, Linda. Yeah, that's amazing. The East was more reasonable for new estates with yards. Nowadays, people are building in the outskirts of cities because of the bigger stands or plots, and it's calm and gives peace of mind, unlike towns where life is too busy. Yeah, that's true, Christina. Yeah, I think that's the mindset that a lot of people have because when you've hustled in the city for so long and you have nothing to show for it, and it's never like young people that choose to move to the rural areas. It's always like maybe once you've reached 40, 45, and you've seen that, well, there's nothing tangible that I'm getting in the city, they decide to move to the rural areas to try and give their children a better start because at least they have a house and they have land. And our schools in the rural areas are actually better than the ones in town because the teachers in the rural areas usually don't strike. And our training program for teachers in Zimbabwe is really good. So, in terms of education and actually having a home, that's the foundation they're trying to give the children. Clever move, Mohadi, because you need ownership of land. Yes, Lungi. It's also a beautiful house here. It is so beautiful, but we are far from everything. Yeah, Linda, you win some, you lose some. Sometimes you win some and you lose some, but I love that you have space. The north is too commercial, and I guess it's made that way to make it harder for our people to stay. Yes, that is exactly the reason. Yo, Mahadi, the north it's a bit. But what can we do? What can we do, guys? And Khadi, for some reason, the east is still a little reasonable compared to the north. I remember when I was looking back then, hence we ended up in the east. That's good, That's good. Guys, Precious, I have a question for you. Do you still think that property in terms of business, do you still think that property is a good investment, not for like personal use? Rather that, Linda, with time they will build malls and stuff that will be close to you. Exactly, development will always come. Guys, are you saying the north of every city is expensive? I think so, Jojo, because even in Zimbabwe, the north of my city is expensive. We call it so we have this big road in the central city, the CBD, which is called Samora Machel. So north of Samora Machel is where the rich people live. The suburbs, the very, you know, the very good places are in the north, and then in the south, the east, the west, you know, it's distributed. But most of the people that have money live north of Samora Machel. I agree, you know, space is very important. Yes. No, Jojo, I'm referring to the north in Johannesburg. I don't know. East is more expensive. Is it everywhere, Joe? Yeah, I think so. Because even as a Zimbabwean, I can relate to that. That's interesting, Lungi. I didn't know that. Imagine Bethlehem. There's nothing happening. Mara stands 600,000. Who is the market? Who are they doing it for, Lungi? Who are they doing it for? Honestly. Joe, really, it helps a lot, even though it takes ages, but the results are super. On my side, I believe it's working because we bought a stand in 2016 with a bachelor house and turned it the following year into mini 2-bedroom houses and took a break. Then in 2023, started spacious 3-bedroom house, doing it in stages. We do save and push and take a break. It really worked as we really motivated, and they found it working rather than having enough money to start. Wow. Christina, that is inspirational because that also requires a lot of patience. When you know what you're working towards, I think that requires a lot of patience, but it also requires discipline and, like you said, motivation. Yeah, that's 8 years, right? If I'm calculating that well, 8 years. That's amazing, Christina. I'm so happy for you. Hi, Lavinia. How are you doing? Guys, today I'm behind with the comments. Oh, I hear Didi. Gauteng is different. You guys have professionals and prominent businesses. Oh, both of them, guys. Have you seen my town? But Lungi, you have the advantage of everything being close to each other. All right. But I get what you mean. I get what you mean. They're just trying to keep us out. Therefore not good. Not got out people, Lungi. Therefore not got out people, Lungi. Okay, thank you, Sino. Definitely not for all people. Yes, that is true. From what part of the world are you from? I'm from Africa, King. I am from the southern area of Africa, from a country called Zimbabwe. Lavinia, salam. How are you? Thanks, Lungi. Truth is, Christina, when I was building at home, we had people doing bricks, and even us every weekend. Everyone had to put effort, and it took us a year to have all the bricks that can build a house. Joanna, slowly but surely. That is amazing. I am so happy. I love to hear people, building and buying, because ownership is so important. It's a big discussion, but I think that especially our people were taught, and it was intentional, that it's okay to rent a lavish house. I'm talking about Zimbabweans here. They can rent a house for $1,000, for $2,500 even, and that is where most of their salary will go. And then they will take their children to private schools. That is where the rest of the salary will go, instead of maybe thinking of renting a house of maybe $500 or less, if they can, and then take their children to private school, because they're building the foundation of their children. In Zimbabwe, if you take your child to private school, you open more in opportunities for them. So I'm not speaking against the private school, but renting for that amount and then not saving in order to give your children an inheritance. I believe that property for me is a very big inheritance, because your children don't start from scratch. Your children don't start from renting. So yeah, ownership for me is a big deal. Exactly, middle class can't even afford a home loan for a two-bedroom. And these loans as well, like I said, they have a glass ceiling that most of our people can't break through. It is intentional. It's quite intentional. Ish Linda, there's always a catch. Hey, did I miss Oh, okay. The catch is that you don't have anything around. Okay. Hi, Wolf Chief. Another angry black woman. Who's angry? That's interesting that you found anger in this. Are you projecting something? Because I'm not angry. Linda, but Pretoria East is very reasonable. Hey, it's clever, says Christina. You'll be done eventually. Yes, Lungi. Pretoria East is very reasonable. Interesting. Love from India. Hi, Coach Uma. How are you doing? I saw you on my other live. I think it was on Saturday when I was working out. Thank you so much for coming back. I'm sure that means you subscribed. Yes, it's such a beautiful story from Christina. I mean, I still think property is good investment because people now don't want to buy. All they want is to rent. So rather have those properties in the right areas. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you. Yeah, I agree with that. I actually agree with that because no matter how much the what do they call the market devalues, you can still keep that property and wait for the um, the market to get better. Yes, Joe, property is a good investment. I agree with you. True, Joe. I also believe in that. That's the best way, Christina. You all know bank and your kids have a forever home. Yes, they have somewhere to start from. Property is an investment, especially when it's paid off. Yes, Dineo. True, I was telling Jojo that I'm going to retire in the villages. Mohadi, it's like me and you have the same dream. I have always said that after hustling and bustling in the city, my retirement home has to be in a place like where I'm living now, like in the villages. I know it doesn't look like it from the vlogs, but the place I stay is actually a village, guys. So they only started to develop it recently, but I came here because I just like the peacefulness of having to walk here and doing that. But having lived here, I understand that I'm going to get to another part of my life where it's going to be hustle and bustle. But after that, I have to retire in the villages as well. Sis Joanna, I think it's really good if you rather invest in buying a house than renting. Renting, you basically paying someone else's bond. Yes, Sis Hoa, she was saying, let me give you a jacket there. She was saying that it's good to invest in buying the house and then you rent it out. Yes, and it comes with a lots of hard work, of course. I think good things always come from hard work. In this life we have been taught that you can get, it's easy. I don't believe in things that are easy. I think good things come from hard work, smart work and hard work. Yep, Didi, hence you have a bond. One must always try to add a little bit more hay so when the repo hits you're a bit safe. I like that idea, Jojo. Mohadi, me and you are both the same. Okay, Dineo, the three of us. We'll turn it into a modern house and everything just for peace and quiet. Definitely, exactly that, Mohadi. Yes, Joe, they say add 10%. Also have life cover. Lungi, Lungi, I remember there was a live that we agreed that you were going to do a video about this because I really believe that as black people we have not been taught about these things, and some of these things are taboo even to talk about, like a will, like life cover, because we believe that we are speaking something bad into our lives. But I believe that you need to set something up for the family that you're living. You're not leaving them now, you are leaving them in 40 years, 50 years, or 60 years. But also, it always happens when someone passes away in a black home, that there's always drama, there's always animosity, there's always fighting, because these discussions were not had. And when they were had, people shy away from them, or it's right, these are conversations that are going to bring bad thoughts and whatever. But no, it's very important for people to have a will, people to have life cover, people to have funeral cover, because that's not something you want to be concentrating on when you're grieving as well, right? You don't want the stress of that when you're grieving. So yeah, Lungi, I agree with that 100%. Trust me, Lungi, that 10% makes a huge difference for your children. Should something happen before you can be able to pay it off? Yes, Lungi. Yo, guys, the stress of building from scratch drained me, and I wish to build ours, but the land was too insane. I had to make executive decision. Oh, is it, Jojo? Guys, I would really appreciate you guys have so much experience and knowledge, like Sis Christina. If ever you have the inclination to do so, please make a video about, building, the stress that comes with it, the advice you would give yourself in 2016 when you were starting Lungi, financial freedom. I think that is a topic that I would really want to hear from someone who has experienced it, someone who has the same or similar cultural mindset to me, comes from the same area, because we get all of these videos from Americans, we get these books from Americans. And of course, the examples that he brings here are very much relevant to us as well. But looking at it, our own perspective would be so different. Same thing with you, Joanna. You've had, what did you go through? As people are buying stands, they have saved their money for stands. They're just thinking that everything is going to be upsy daisy from here. But when we have relatable people speaking about relatable content, about things that we aspire to, guys, please hang on a second. Maybe I need to change the Wi-Fi. I don't know why it's doing this. Guys, let me move to the lounge, because I don't know why my network is doing this. I feel like I really want to continue with this conversation. So please just hang on a second. I am so sorry, guys, but I am back. I am here. Kakuli D, even with cars, if you plan to settle before your term, add a little more. It makes all the difference. You see, this is the advice that you would be giving us on that your 1 million video. Okay, Jojo, because I was going to ask. Yeah, we are happy. I'm happy because you're giving us really good contributions. I'm not playing you on mute, Dre. I'm in a taxi. I don't know where my headsets are. Okay, so now sometimes it's not practical to build from scratch, Joe. Modern Village. Yes, we love it. Thank you for the love, Miss Malaika. Did I just hear that PTA East is reasonable? Linda, do you have a different experience? Yeah, true, Joe, because it's tiring to be always on site and materials are expensive. But on the other hand, you build according to your plan. That is true. Also, I don't know if you get the same thing in South Africa, but in Zimbabwe, we have a lot of scammers when it comes to land. Like, people will sell you land and then they, first of all, they don't have the rights to the land, or they sell land to different people and then they move away. So sometimes if you're not on site, someone can come and build, and yeah, it's so much drama as well. Exactly, Lungi. Hence we decided to just buy because wow, the figures were not figuring. Sometimes you end up spending more, right? That is true. No ways, Dre. That house with the pool is from the village. It is Mohadi. It's exactly what you were saying, that you modernize it. So if you see the houses that are around, they are like traditional village houses. And then someone, maybe they would buy land here and then they'll build like a village. And also villages have been, yes, Mohadi, here, like, if there's a vlog that I was even showing you, like a farm, like when I'm at the park, the beach is here and then there's like a goat farm, like it's quite interesting. But yeah, they've modernized some parts of it so it looks good, but like the surrounding areas, not so good. Material is expensive but building is cheaper than buying. Sis G. Okay. Thanks, Dre. Also, villages that have a base. Spot move, Mama. It's a modern village, Mahadi. It is. It is a modern village. But Precious, if you buy a stand for 1.3 million, and how much will the building cost? Because it's going to end up being double. So somehow it's not practical to build from scratch in some cases. Yeah. I think also depending on the area and the design, the types of materials you want to use. Modern village indeed, Lungi. It is very modernized. I wish we could do that to my village. I really wish we could. Please do live covers, guys. I had a friend who never had a live covers. I had a friend who never had a funeral cover because she doesn't believe in saving for death. And her sis passed on and she had to dig from pocket. Joanna, this is what I was saying. That conversation, because how do you you're grieving someone and then now you're starting to think of money. It doesn't work. So I really do believe in life cover, funeral cover, in wills, everything. Yes, I understand the mentality of death, right? We shy away from that, but for the people who are left behind, I think it's only fair. Yes, Jojo, building can be reasonable most times, but not always. Yes, that's true. Yes, Joe, if you're gonna be building in town, rather buy, because 1.3 million standalone is crazy. But imagine what you can do with that in the village. So I'm referring to the village. Yeah, that's true, Precious. And if you're lucky enough to already have land in the villages, great. Can I ask something? Because I always refer to this and I thought it was true for all countries, but my fiance told me something different. Because in Zimbabwe, it's just normal that your family has land in the village. It's just everyone has land in the, you have a house in the town, either you own it or you're renting, but in the village you own land. Is it the same for everyone? Is that the same in South Africa? Yo, Jojo, it's so important, even if a person takes the cheapest one, to cover the basics of the unplanned event, because you never know when death will strike. Yes, and yeah, it's more of a cultural thing that we don't want to talk about that, but in the end, you're really putting stress on the people that don't need stress, especially at that time. Yes, even the cheapest is better than nothing. True. True. Yo, you'd build something so beautiful in the rural areas with that money. I'm telling you, that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. It's the same as having, as saving 100 rands a month if you don't have enough. So it's better than nothing, because over years with interest it will be something. That's true, Lungi. That is true. And the aspect of saving for death, guys, yeah, we have a lot of unlearning to do as Black people. We do. We have a lot of unlearning to do. And there are some things we still need to hold on to in our culture as well, because we have the love, we have the respect, Ubuntu, right? We have that. That's something we really need to hold on to. But I believe that with us moving into, especially into the cities, that Ubuntu has been lost, because in the villages, if you see your neighbor struggling, you're going to help them immediately. But in the cities, we don't know our neighbors. Even to advise someone, oh, the way you're moving with your wife or the way you're moving with your husband, you know, that's not going to develop the children. You have that in the villages. We don't have that in the cities. Same thing with, there are some things we need to unlearn. This idea of, like we're saying, this life insurance and will things, they are for white people, and like Jojo said, you're saving for death. These are things that we need to unlearn. We need to unlearn. Even this system of credit in things that are not necessary, we need to unlearn that, because we are putting money in other people's pockets and also not supporting each other. That's also, unfortunately, a Black thing, not supporting each other, especially in businesses. And I don't know why, because these are the races, they go for each other, they go hard for each other, so the money always circulates among them, and that's how they get richer and richer and richer. So there's a lot of learning and unlearning that we have to do. True. Also, I have funeral covers. I used to not believe in them, but you're looking at my finances now. I won't cope if someone close to me passed away. Yes, Mahadi, it is needed. I have seen people pass away, and the amount of money that people without funeral cover pay, it's crazy. And in Zimbabwe, I think one thing that our people do right is funeral cover, because they cover everything from buses, transport to and fro, because most of our people, they get buried in the villages. So from the city to the village, to and from, they give you a tent, they give you some money for food, like everything is covered. So especially during that time, you need it. True, Sina, the cheapest is way better. Your network is fine. Thank you, Mahadi. Thank you. I'm glad my meeting has been cancelled. Guys, if Jojo is only answering this now, it means I'm so behind with the topic. Such an important topic, Dre. Yes, Lungi. I think maybe one of these days, when we can, maybe we should do like a joint live, like Jojo, we can talk about building, and when it's not sustainable, Lungi, financial freedom, you know, funeral covers, life covers, all of that. I would love to, you know, go deep into that at some point. Yes, when in the village, I agree. Yes. We want to see what is it, because I was blocking, guys? I didn't know where and what I was walking into, but actually everything was fine. Everything was actually fine, but but Lungi with savings, it doesn't want to equal, you will withdraw that money. True, Mohadi, which is why it's better to just take it to cover, because that is Mohadi, that time when you feel like, okay, you know, we have enough savings, something just hits. So it's better for you to actually have a policy somewhere. This topic today, precious, and it was just because of the book I was reading, but it went a lot deeper. I appreciate you ladies for taking it there. You'd even find yourself in unnecessary debt, Joe, especially if you don't even have savings, like Lungi is saying. Yes, you know, because one thing about that, you will definitely get into, because it's so unexpected, and as most people, guys, to be quite honest, we live from month to month except for the savings we put aside. So if you don't have savings and you're living from month to month with all those expenses, you're going to have to borrow. And so you're going to get into debt and you're grieving. That's what I'm saying. From my perspective, it's like at that point you already have enough on your plate with the grief. So, yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. True Mohadi. You can make savings where you can't withdraw, Khadi. Ah, okay, like a savings account. Um, yeah, okay, yes. I think here we have one, but they have like a limit of 6 months. After 6 months, they allow you to withdraw. So maybe I would have to look into something that's longer than that. The dress. Thank you, Danelle. Thank you. You need to be in a position when you know that even if you are broke, you still have some cash flow to avoid tapping into it unnecessary. Hence, Linda said multiple streams of income, because if you're only relying on your salary, and that's why I think YouTube, to a lot of people, it doesn't make sense when you're starting, right? It doesn't. It does not. But when the money starts coming in and you're using this money for one thing, or you're investing it in another thing, investing it into yourself, investing it into your channel, you're now not focusing on your salary money to invest into your channel. So and then you start a business somewhere, you're doing catering, makeup, the spices and the sauces. Lungi, I'm talking to you with the spices and the sauces. But it's a lot of things that you can get into that's going to bring you multiple streams of income, because you really can't rely on one thing. Even a business, you can't rely on one business, because there's a time that it is going to be working, there's a time that there is going to be maybe what do they call, a recession, and people are not investing or thinking of going into or purchasing from that business anymore. So many eggs, many baskets, one of them will hatch. Because the biggest reason we fall into debt is because we don't have savings. So when an emergency strikes, we must land and we will fall into the trap of being in debt. Exactly, Sino. Yes. Hi, Melvin. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining the live. It happens here as well, Dre, especially if you buy the land through the chiefs. Okay, Precious. That is good to hear. That is good to hear. And I'm sure it's usually more, like, it's cheaper when you buy it in the village. We were once scammed with my mom. We paid for property and the person that sold it to us did not have the right to sell. Dineo, that is a common thing in Zimbabwe. Like, a lot of people go through that, and it's so sad because you would have saved for years and years to get that initial deposit, and someone just runs. Thieves. That is why I think that is one of the main the 10 commandments. You should not steal, because you're literally taking away something that someone worked so hard for. But for me, if I say 400 and something happens next year, it won't do anything. I heard that coffins cost more than 3, is it 30K? Mohadi, you're saying that you would rather put that in a funeral policy than to save it yourself, because you'll get a higher payout. I think that's what Mohadi is saying. Hi, Moose Dog. I was trying to remember, because I was trying to remember who it was, but I think I'm right. Hi, Moose Dog. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining. Hello, municipal people sell and land illegally, so you have to be careful when buying. Yes, Lungi, you lost it. Dineo, I don't even want to imagine how that was, especially you combining it with your mom. I'm sure it was a lot. I was checking you doing all your workouts. Thank you, Moose Dog. I really appreciate that. The point is long-term, Choni, bigger picture, and cultivating good habits. True, I believe in emergency fund savings. Yeah, I like to call it a rainy day fund, because The rain usually comes, but if you don't have anything, you have to start borrowing. Ask Istineo, I experienced that as well. Bought land somewhere, all was well. When I went back the next week, someone was building their own house. Precious. It happened like even like to our neighbors as well. Um, they just bought from the wrong people. And unfortunately, you never know because they'll even forge documents and you'll never know. Once you're successful in saving 1K, you get motivated and you want to save some more and. Yes, Lungi. See, this is the discussion we have to have, please. Haha, not for everyone in SA. We don't have land in the village. Really, Joanna? Okay, so at least now I'm in the know because I just had that one idea that Africans always have land. Also, if the funds, I can pay for my rent at least 6 months. Yes, Mukhadi, that is so true. I am all for saving, guys. I'm all for saving. And the thing with money, once you see it in your account, you get addicted to saving. Those good habits. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Precious. I almost fell for that. You know what? You deserve a little time out. When you buy land from the municipality, don't you pay directly into the municipality account? I think that, for example, it happens also with electricity connections for people who get new connections, right? The people who work there, they might even get like a book of documentation. In South Africa, maybe everything you guys do is digital, but in Zimbabwe, before they digitalized everything, you pay through a receipt book, right? So you think you're paying through the receipt book, they might even steal a stamp or anything like that. So I don't know. Going to a meeting now. Okay, Mohadi, thank you so much for the interaction. I really appreciate it. Askis D and prayer share. That is so sad. You need Jesus. I have Jesus, Danny. I have Jesus. Do you have Jesus? True, Lungi, but people get happy when they see a positive balance in their accounts. They never understand the concept of saving. Because for a person who never had money to save, they will always go to that account and take it out. I always say, don't save using your bank account options. Maybe find something different that's not within your easy access and you will forget about it. Joanna, I think it was on Lucy's live that I was saying that, and that's the whole thing with financial education, right? The patterns that we grew up with, like you're saying, if you grew up without money, when you see it, you feel like it has to be spent. And I was saying that because of how my grandmother grew up, her salary was stable, her pension was stable. So she had a house. So she really didn't have to think of later because the later was sorted. So her advice to me when I started working was last month's salary should not meet this month's salary. So imagine having that kind of mindset, then trying to change that to saving. It's all about patterns. That's why as Black people, as African people, we have to start having more conversations about this. We are getting more conversations of how to make money, and I love that. But we also have to have more conversations of how to invest, how to save money. It's very important. Remember, Presh, some people are not educated, so it's easy to scam them. You must hear stories of people being scammed. Yeah, Presh, and that is so true. Oh, yes, I see, Lungi. That's hectic. Hi, Joshua from Missouri. Thank you so much for joining. Glad your meeting is canceled. Yeah, because the conversation is going well. In the background, Ray, I have a few things to sort out. Ladies, please, after this live, pay a visit to my page. Watch my vlog chain. It's been up since 10 and it's not receiving love. I'm sorry, Lungi. As soon as we're done here, I'm definitely going to check it out. I'll check with the lawyer that was helping my dad's stuff because there was a lot of drama. He can educate us on the pros and cons of wills. I would really appreciate that, Joanna. Thank you so much. I would really appreciate that. Hi, Dutch. Are you African American? No, I am Zimbabwean, so I am just African. Just African. I'm not American. Noted Lungi will be on it. Be patient. Yes, Lungi. We are coming there. We are coming there, definitely. It's hard, Dre. It sure is, Joanna. But we can do it. I believe we can do it. We just need more conversations. Guys, it's been happening to me from last year. I saved up a lot. Every time my money looks healthy, an emergency happens. Shoe savings are important. Shame. Dinero. We need that rainy day fund. We really do. And also compounding interests. That I think that's something that I will discuss tomorrow, depending on what the feel is. But I really think that it's important. Yeah, savings are important, and also like Jojo said, also having some savings that you don't have access to, but also having them earn interest. So it's not just your 500 that you left there that you'll take as 500. Yay, Jojo, please do. Yeah, we would really appreciate that as East Links that we'll watch. We are definitely going. I'm still catching up on everyone from yesterday, especially. So if I haven't watched your stuff, I'm definitely coming. Hi, Hyper. How are you doing? Hi, Emmy. That is funny. What is most valuable to you? Memories, Hyper. Memories. I think that, yeah, they are most valuable to me. Exactly, Didi. I also had the same issues. And and time you feel like you're working backwards, but it helped because if it wasn't for those savings, you would have been to the loans multiple times. So you can always save, yeah. And then with the loans, you have to pay interest. So it is very good to save. True, Jojo. Very true, Jojo. On the saving was not. Yeah, the saving was not in vain, definitely. Okay, my Dre, bye now. My phone is on 3%. Have a good day, ladies. Goodbye, Poloko. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Please do that, Jojo. Bye, Poloko. Thank you so much. Are you going live, Sino? I didn't even ask. Thank you, Precious, for asking. Hi, Xanda. How are you doing? But I'm finally caught up. So yeah, I think this was a great discussion, and I will definitely, yeah, Jojo, I will definitely go into compounding interest tomorrow. Yes, compound interest is very important, and it's advisable to eat it interest. One must reinvest that interest. Yes, you should not eat your children, but reinvest them. Lungi will get what I'm saying because we spoke about this before. When you save, reinvest it and don't eat your profits. So, do you start your calisthenics yet? Yes, I did actually, animals. I am doing a challenge, and by the end of that challenge, I am going to try and do 10 push ups. Then I'll move on to the next thing. Yeah, Jojo, it's very important. But it's education. Some of us don't know that. There is one thing from the book that I wanted to read to you guys, which was quite interesting for me. And it was saying, because I see this a lot in Zimbabwe, it was saying that lottery tickets, Americans spend more on them than movies and video games, music, sporting events. And who buys them? Mostly poor people. The lowest income households in the US on average spend $402 a year on lottery tickets, which is 4 times the amount of those in the highest income groups. And what they say is they cannot come up with $400 as an emergency fund. But per year, they spend $412 buying lottery tickets. So when you look at it from that first point of view, you'll think, oh, but they're wasting money buying the lottery tickets instead of saving into that emergency fund. He was trying to explain that from their perspective, they're saying, one day we're going to get that 1 million. And most people never get it. They don't even get $100. But it is a mindset of not knowing that if you actually save that, each year you can save more and more and more. But again, it's just education. It is just education. Okay, guys. So I think that I will be ending the live here. Tomorrow we will continue with compounding interest and all of that good stuff. There's another there's another conversation I want to have, and we started it today about people not knowing what to invest in, people not knowing the importance of ownership. And I think that's something that I will speak about again tomorrow because, yeah, the book is opening up a lot of things. Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining. Proud of you for starting. Thank you, Xander. I really appreciate that. Oh, Alexander is also here. So we have two Xanders in the building. Thank you so much, Xander. Shoo. Taneo, I hope you're ready for that conversation tomorrow. Thank you, Lisa, for joining. Okay, guys, please send in your goodbyes. And we will continue this conversation tomorrow. And yeah, I hope it's going to be as interactive as it was today. Hi, Bryant. We have the same name, man. Yeah. You sure do. Goodbye, guys. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your Monday. Let's move on to Lungi. Watch her vlog. I'm sure it is amazing. Bye, guys. I'll wait for everyone to say goodbye. Bye, ladies. Is MGT going live? I don't think so. She hasn't responded. She was in a taxi. Okay, I think she can read it. Yeah, as you asked, maybe she will answer. I don't think she's going live right now because she said she was in a taxi. Bye, everyone. Bye, ladies. Bye, Precious. Bye, Xanda. Bye, Jojo. Bye, Dineo. Bye, Mohadi. Bye, Sino. Bye, Lungi. I'm thinking who else. I hope I did not leave anyone. Trevor, if it's something nice, yes. If it's something that's not nice, please don't. But you, Linda, I'm sorry. Bye, Linda. Bye, Linda. Thank you so much. Sorry, Lungi, I can't make it. Gotta get going. Yeah, I think she can read it. She's a little bit busy with something, but I think she either can read it or she heard me in the background there. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining. See you in the morrow. In the morrow. Trevor, because you didn't say anything, I'm assuming that what you wanted to say was not nice, or maybe you're still typing and what you want to say is so nice that it's taking so long. All right, guys, let me love and leave you and see you on everyone's live, guys. Goodbye.